Hey, what's up, electronic media students? This is Mr. Roper, and I'm doing a demo today on your propaganda style posters project. We talked a little bit about this online the other day, but what I want you to think about in this first stage is really getting comfortable with sketching out your ideas, okay? We're trying to move you guys away from jumping into the software very first thing, because part of being a good graphic designer is being able to share your ideas visually on paper, rough drafts, so that your client or even yourself can look at several different options before you make a decision on what you're going to do for the final. One of the things that can happen is when you jump right into the software, you get locked into one way of thinking or one way of working based on the tools. And so I always find that a better idea comes when you first start with a sketch. And then as you develop that sketch and you bring it into the software, you find tools that make that idea come to life rather than letting the tools decide how your design is going to look. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of live sketching this morning. I've got my document camera on. I took a look at some of the propaganda posters from our Pinterest gallery, and I decided I wanted to base mine kind of around this classic Soviet propaganda poster. This is one of the most famous ones from that era. I just like the shapes, the color palette, the use of the image here. And I decided, okay, I want to do something kind of based around that. And I thought it'd be kind of funny, since we're talking so much about like good practices to help stop coronavirus, is like etiquette for sneezing, right? And there's that funny meme about like dabbing to prevent your germs from getting all over the place, destroy all bacteria, DAB. So I looked up some stock images here of a couple people dabbing. And I like the diagonal shape of this body movement here. And I think it would work really well with this type of poster. So I think what I'm going to do is base my sketch off of that idea and find some ways to work in some text, some colors, some diagonal lines. Like we see in a lot of these Soviet posters, they all had really strong diagonals in it. I'm going to try to include that in my poster design, okay? So first things first, I'm going to switch over to my sketch paper here. And let me move my window with my reference image. When we're sketching, guys, it's totally fine to use a reference image. I do it all the time. I bring up a photo that I can kind of base my sketch off of. And over here on my paper, I'm just going to very quickly do some thumbnail ideas for how I could lay this out. Okay. So one idea would be, a vertical poster, kind of like this. I'm going to have my guy right here. He's got his hand going over his face this way. Just put in some rough shapes here for the body language. Here's his shoulder, t-shirt. Okay, so body's coming down this way, and then arm is going out this way with the hand, kind of exaggerated hand there, but you get the idea, okay? Remember, these are rough drafts, so they don't need to be perfect sketches. We just need to get an idea of where things are going to get placed on the page. Then I think what I could do up here is maybe find a nice, like, bold Soviet-style font, and maybe some kind of blocky, because several of the poster designs that they had were these really blocky modern fonts, okay? And then down below it'll say like what that stands for. Destroy all bacteria. Roper can't spell. And then when I look at, let me scoot this over for a second. When I look at that design, you can see they've got those circles. They got the diagonal lines coming out of there. I'm going to move that back over, and let's see if I can work that in. So maybe I have one big circle shape behind the body, and then coming out of it in like a ray form to kind of emphasize that diagonal. I could have some kind of starbursts here. There's kind of this interesting shape down here in the corner. For your, let's make it real propaganda, for your country, your community. your health. I'm kind of even doing this in the voice, right? So I've got this in there. Let me take a look at some of the other shapes. We've got some, I like that little black and red area around the poster. So maybe I'll do like where this comes down right here and it wraps around the outline of the guy. And I'll just shade that in black. So I can have like black on this side. Let's put black, reds over here. And then maybe I can do his shirt in bright yellow so that it captures the attention. Okay. So one approach here, real simple. We call this a thumbnail. Okay. Thumbnail sketches. Thumbnail. Okay. And if I were doing this in a client situation, I would have multiple thumbnails, at least 4 or more different approaches that my client could take on. So let me take this same idea and I'm just going to rework it. Oh, destroy all bacteria. I had to do it myself. Okay. Come over here. I'm going to do this one in a horizontal style this time. Same idea. Let's start this time though with that circle. I'm going to put the black shape right here. I'll put the red shape coming out this. Let me go take a look at it real quick. Yeah, okay. And then coming out of here, I'll have the diagonals. When I get into the software, I can really line these up and make them look a little bit better. And then, of course, my dude. So I'll have dude here, arm again coming out this way, sleeve, arm kind of extending this way. And maybe I'll, in this one, I'll have him kind of stay inside the circle. That might look pretty good there. I'll put the dab. And maybe we change this one up for good health. Dab for good health. Okay. And then we'll have a little area. Let me see some of these shapes. Yeah, maybe a little area down here that can kind of be reserved for the message. Okay, this is where my text is going to go explaining what that is. Up at the top, I'll put the full word, destroy all bacteria. Okay. And I think this could work pretty good. So I got black. I got my reds on this side. I still like the idea of the yellow. I think black, red, and yellow will be a really strong color palette for this. And this is thumb number 2. Okay. Now, I wouldn't want to put all my eggs in one basket and have all of my designs be just this idea. Maybe there's a stronger one I could go with. So I could try some other options here. Maybe this one isn't going to work as well as I thought. So at that point, I could jump back over into my gallery. Maybe there's some different layouts here that could work really well for this idea. I'm just going to scroll through a little bit. See what I can find. You know, some of these are more realistic, some are more kind of abstract style. So let's see what we can find here. This one's kind of cool with like the photo mixed together with the image. So let's try one in that style. So again, I'm gonna switch back to my sketch paper and let's throw in one other option here for this video. And if I look here, maybe I can do this split screen. Bop, bop. Got to be smart, big brain. Okay, over here I've got this guy. We'll put his head here. We'll have this arm extending this way. This arm, again, doesn't have to be great art at this point, as you can see. At the bottom, I'll put a diagonal, like a photo image. Maybe I can find like a news image of people in masks. People in masks. Okay. And then there's this diagonal that comes down here behind the head, kind of frames the head in red. And that's going to be where my message goes. So I'll have big text, big text, big text, D-A-B. This hand kind of going up this way. Maybe I can put some other imagery in the back here. I like that this one has a combination of the photo with the vector shapes. So this could be a totally different style than this one up here. All right. But pretty happy with that. Okay. So when we talk about sketching out your ideas, this is kind of what I'd like you to be shooting for, just at least for maybe a few more if you can come up with them, ideas for how you're going to lay it out first. And then this is going to end up being your plan for when you get over into the software. And at that point, you can start to incorporate actual photos using vector shapes, using images that you've manipulated to like take the color out of them, or maybe overlay them with just a single color, and that'll give you some really good options for going forward. Okay, so I hope that helps with some ideas for this first part of the sketching. And if you have questions, of course, hit me up in the Hangout and we can go from there. All right, guys, good luck on your sketching stage.